Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to the announcement video of my 4th Master of Them All tournament. The theme for this one is going to be the Hoenn Champion, and I'm very excited to be bringing this to you, especially in anticipation of the new Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire video games that are going to be coming out later this year. So I figured this would be a really nice way to kind of get people in the Hoenn mindset and try and create a really cool competitive environment for you all to test out teams using some of your favorite Hoenn Pokemon. Now this tournament is going to be held on Friday, August 22nd, 2014, which is this Friday, and it is going to take place at 12 o'clock p.m., which is noon, Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you don't know what time that is for you, you could very easily check this on a website called Time Zone Converter, which I will put a link to in the description for your ease of access. Now, this tournament is going to take place in the tournament's chat room on Pokemon Showdown, and if you've never used Pokemon Showdown before, I will also have a link to that in the description, or you can just Google it. But the tournament's chat room is just one of the many chat rooms there, and you can go there to basically find your opponents, as all entrants and participants in this tournament will be in this chat room as well. And also, if you would like to just watch the stream but not participate, or if you are participating, the stream that you're going to be needing to watch in order to get directions from me and all sorts of stuff like that is going to be my Twitch live stream at twitch.tv/Rykard3. Moving on to the general rules of this tournament, the first thing that you need to know is that battles will be in the singles format, meaning that at any given time there will only be one Pokemon on each side of the field. Also, this is a double elimination tournament, which means that you have to lose twice in order to be knocked out of the tournament. So even if you lose your first game in the winner's bracket, your name will get moved to the loser's bracket, where you will fight more opponents and still actually have a chance to win the tournament if you don't lose a game after that. And I've had issues in the past with people leaving the tournament after they've lost their first game, which is simply not the case because you still have more matches to play and you might be holding up the bracket because you left not knowing that you are actually still in the tournament in the loser's bracket. So just keep that in mind because that's what double elimination means. Also, matches will take place using the X and Y Ubers tier, and this is basically what you select when you challenge someone. It'll give you an option to select the tier. You select X and Y Ubers, and there's a reason for that which I will explain later on in this video, but just keep that in mind. But what this means basically is that 6th gen moves, items, and mechanics are all in effect, as well as the abilities to allow pretty much everything that is currently released to be used. So something like an Assault Vest, which wasn't in any game prior to X and Y, is still a usable item in this tournament. Another thing to help the tournament run quickly and smoothly is that the battle timer is to always be turned on, which basically gives you a certain amount of time to make a move so as to not prevent the battles from taking any longer than they actually need to. Also, all the general clauses that you see all the time in the Spoken Rule set are going to be in effect. And for those of you that don't know what some of these mean, Species Clause means that you cannot have more than one Pokemon on your side of the field with the same name. So even though I know how tempting it is to use 6 Ludicolo, that is breaking Species Clause because Ludicolo in itself is its own species, so you can only have one per team. Also, Sleep Clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot put more than one Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field to sleep at a time. And the great thing about Showdown is that it implements this automatically, so even if you accidentally go for Sleep Powder on a Pokemon when you've already put something else to sleep, it will just fail anyway, which is really great. Also, Evasion Clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot boost your own evasion through the use of moves such as Double Team or Minimize. However, moves such as Sand Attack, which lower your opponent's accuracy, are still actually viable because that is something completely different. Also, Moody Clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot use any Pokemon that have the Moody ability. Now, I think the only one that gets it is Glalie in 3rd gen, so just don't use Moody on Glalie and you're good to go. And lastly, the one-hit KO clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot use moves such as Horn Drill or Sheer Cold. And lastly, and probably the most important rule that you need to make note of when building a team for this tournament, is that you are only allowed to use one team for this tournament, and it may not be altered at any point once the tournament begins. So whatever you bring to the tournament is what you have to use. There is no way around that, and you aren't allowed to change up even moves, abilities, or items, or anything like that. It all has to stay the same to keep things consistent and honest throughout the tournament. As for the tournament-specific rules, each team must contain one and only one starter Pokemon from the Hoenn region, and this basically boils down to choosing between Sceptile, Swampert, or Blaziken. And what I mean by one and only one is that if you choose Sceptile, you cannot use Swampert or Blaziken, because if you were to play through the game normally, you would note that you can only have one starter. So this is kind of a really cool way to try and encourage team building based around the fact that you have to choose a starter, similar to the way you would actually play through the Pokemon games. Also, the other 5 Pokemon on your team have to be native to the Hoenn region, which basically encompasses the national dex numbers 252 through 386, which is Trico all the way to Deoxys, I believe. So any of those Pokemon are legal, as they are what I would consider native to the Hoenn region. Also, the Pokemon Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Latios, Latias, and Deoxys, all variations of Deoxys, are banned from this tournament, which might seem a little weird because I told you before that we are going to be using the Ubers tier, but the only reason we're actually going to be using the Ubers tier is because I want Blaziken to be allowed. But Blaziken was moved up to Ubers because of its Mega Stone as well as the ability Speed Boost, so for purposes of this tournament, I'm implementing something called Chicken Claws, which means that Blaziken can only be used if and only if it has the Blaze ability. And this pretty much makes Blaziken just as good as any other Pokemon that you're going to see in the game. It doesn't make it even remotely overpowered if it has the Blaze ability. So the reason why it's Ubers is because Blaziken is still considered to be an Uber Pokemon regardless of its ability. So using Blaze on it will make it more balanced to the rest of the Pokemon in the Hoenn region. So basically you have to use Blaziken because of Chicken Claws. Also, the items Blazikenite and Mawilite are going to be banned for this tournament, meaning that you cannot use Mega Blaziken or Mega Mawile. And I actually thought really long and hard about the Mawile thing, because for a really long time I was very set on it not being banned, but then I started doing some damage calculations only to realize that there's really nothing in 3rd gen that can handle Mawile, or Mega Mawile, except for Swalot, which is just kind of silly to think about, because even though Swalot can take hits from it, it still really can't do anything back to Mega Mawile anyway, because Earthquake or whatever, I think it learns Earthquake or Earth Power, one or the other, still only does like 30% to Mawile anyway. So it's pretty much too good for just using 3rd gen Pokemon, which is why I have to ban Mega Mawile. Also, the Shell Smash plus Baton Pass is banned, meaning that if you're using Gorbis or Huntail, they cannot also have Baton Pass with their Shell Smash move, because that would just make it ridiculously good if you Shell Smash into one of the Megas and make it very overpowered and difficult to deal with. Even though there is a ton of priority in 3rd gen on a lot of the Pokemon, I just think this would be way too difficult to deal with once someone has actually acquired a Shell Smash boost and Baton passed it to something else. So it's basically to make team building a little bit more diverse, so that people aren't just running hyper offensive teams with Shell Smash and things like that, and also make sure that you don't have to worry about the possibility of your opponent Shell Smash passing into something else. But as far as Baton Pass is concerned, this is totally legal, and you could use a full-on Baton Pass team if you really wanted to, because there isn't a Pokemon with Magic Bounce in 3rd gen, so you feasibly can just get roared away and have all your Baton Pass boosts completely ignored. So keep that in mind. Baton Pass is legal overall on anything, but Shell Smash plus Baton Pass is not going to be allowed. Now, for those of you wondering how to register for the tournament, the first thing that you need to do is create an account on challenge.com. And challenge.com is basically the website where I run the tournament, and you can see the bracket. It's completely free to register and also completely safe, so there should be no qualms about doing so. And now once you have registered, what you're going to be doing is clicking on the sign up button on the tournament page. And this will be something that I link in the description. It will basically be the bracket link that will have the sign up, as well as all the rules and everything like that already on Challenge. And the most important thing that you need to do when registering for this tournament is make sure that you register on Challenge with the same username that you go by on Pokemon Showdown. So if your name, for example, is Rykard on Pokemon Showdown, the name you register with on Challenge must also read Rykard. But if you are someone that already has a Challenge account and uses a different name on Challenge than you do on Pokemon Showdown, one way to get around this is to click on the sign up with a team name when registering for the tournament to enter as your Pokemon Showdown username. So for example, say if I sign up for Challenge as like Victini Master 111, but my name is Rykard on Showdown, what I do is I'll click the sign up with the team name and write in Rykard there, so that it says Rykard on the bracket, and then when you try to find me in the tournament chat room, you will also see the name Rykard. And then lastly, and a very important thing as well, is that you are required to check into the tournament on Challenge at least 1 hour before the tournament begins. So basically, if you sign up today and you don't show up on Friday, your name will be pretty much removed from the bracket, so you won't actually be allowed to enter the tournament if you don't actually check in on Challenge at least an hour before the tournament begins. And this saves me a ton of trouble because the bracket won't get held up for people that just decide not to show up but still sign up for the tournament anyway, which is an amazing feature that was only recently added, and I love the fact that it was. So make sure that when you register for this tournament, about an hour before the tournament, you go on Challenge and make sure you check in so that I know that you're there and that so the bracket knows that you're there as well and enters you into the tournament. Lastly, the winner of each match will be responsible for reporting the truthful results of the matches on Challenge. And the way you do this is basically by clicking the bracket link wherever you just played your match and typing in the score and who won. So I'm giving you guys the ability to do this so that I don't have to, which makes things incredibly complicated if I'm responsible for reporting all of these. So this is the winner's job, not the loser. Now, if problems arise, such as people lying about results, please send me a private message on Pokemon Showdown and I will handle this situation. And you can do that very easily by finding my name in the tournament's chat room and just clicking on my name and click chat and then telling me what's happening there. And basically, if you report false results with the intent of trying to advance yourself in the bracket or anything like that, this will result in an automatic removal of you from the tournament. So don't do things like that because they make the tournament suck for pretty much everyone involved in the situation. Also, for archiving purposes, please share with me all the match replays by messaging me with the link to them of the shared replay. Now, this is a little bit different than sending me the link to the battle because more often than not, that won't be the case for it to work. What you need to do is actually physically click on the share replay button and copy and paste the link that pops up to me on Pokemon Showdown. So again, you would just click my name and click chat and then send me the link. And also, it'd be really beneficial if you could tell me what the name of the bracket match was. So for example, if you were bracket match B or something like that, or AD or something like that would also be really helpful for allowing me to archive these things a lot easier. So please do that, as it will make my life easier and also allow the replays to be shared so much easier for everyone to see after the tournament's over. But anyways, just to show you the tournament details again, please remember that this is on Friday, August 22nd at noon Eastern Standard Time in the tournament's chat room on Pokemon Showdown, and you can view the tournament as well as the matches on twitch.tv/Rykard3. So everybody, please take a look now at the description, sign up for the tournament if this is something you're interested in, and I hope to see you over there. And as always, everybody, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.